David Heurtel with you. Thank you for joining us on this Easter Monday. Well, firework competitions have been under a lot of pressure because of raising concerns about air quality. Last year, of course, during the summer, there were fires in northern Quebec affecting air quality across the province and beyond. And so a lot of the competition, including the one in Montreal, were affected. And a lot of people were saying, well, we should take a harder look at the air quality of these fireworks themselves, what they create and the impact they have on the air, on the water, etc. So there's been a study that's just come out that says that maybe fireworks aren't affecting air quality that much. Jean-Luc Allard is engineer at Atkins Realis, formerly SNC Lavalin, and director of this independent study. Jean-Luc, thank you for your time this morning.
Good morning.
So first, maybe tell us what the study had in terms of what was the goal? What were you trying to measure here?
That's fairly simple. Because of the summer 2023 situation, le regroupement des événements pyrotechniques du Québec wanted to better understand the impact of their activities on the air quality. So they mandated us, so we looked at air quality data during 2022, 2023, and also we developed an air quality monitoring program for last summer to evaluate the impact of the fireworks.
And what did you find out?
This was interesting. We were anticipating to be able to measure the plume downwind of the shooting site, and that was the case. Mm-hmm. So if you are very well aligned with the wind, downwind of the shooting site, you can measure the plume and the air quality deterioration associated with the plume. So obviously, particulate matter concentration go up. But typically, you measure it at, it's like a puff that goes in space. And obviously, at a given situation, at a given point, you will see particulate matter concentration go up, then go down, and you will be able to monitor the plume for several minutes, depending on obviously, if you are at the exact location downwind of the shooting site. However, if you look at, this is during minutes, and as you know, there isn't any criteria associated with air quality, ambient air quality for minutes. So two applicable criteria, one that is used by the City of Montreal, it's the mobile average for 3 hours, and the criteria is 35 microgram per cubic meter. Mm-hmm. And in some locations, you may have some exceedance of this criteria. So at the location, a deterioration of the air quality data. However, if you look at criteria on a daily basis, 24 hours for PM, the fine particulates or PM 2.5, which are particulates smaller than 2.5 microns. In all cases, we meet the applicable criteria. Same thing for metals that are associated with the colors in the fireworks, and same thing for the volatile organic compounds.
Okay, so I've been to the fireworks competition. You may have been there as well at some point. When you're actually there, you're at La Ronde. I mean, you feel it, you breathe. I mean, there's a lot of what you call particulate matter out there. I'm just wondering, first of all, Jean-Luc, what is this matter composed of? What are we breathing when we're breathing air particles from firework explosions?
It is mainly particulates.
Particulates of what? It's like
the dominant parameter, and obviously you can smell it as for sure because there is sulfur compounds.
Sulfur,
but take into account the fact that directly on the side, people may be in the plume, or they may smell or see the plume at some locations. But the criteria applicable in ambient air quality for the population are not the criteria that applies for people on site. Typically, I would rather refer to people working situation. Obviously, they are not working. We understand that. But if we look at criteria that applies to people working 8 hours a day and 5 days a week, 40 hours, typically, rather than to have a daily criteria of 30 microgram per cubic meter, you would have a criteria of 10 milligram per cubic meter. So almost 1,000 times higher. So obviously, people that may be on site or may be affected differently. But the criteria that need to be looked at are those for people living in a given situations where they are affected by the air quality for years rather than minutes.
All right. So the result of the study basically says, okay, it's not affecting air quality that much. Why do you think there's such a stigma attached to these competitions? Why are people raising so many objections to these competitions if your data shows that the impact seems to be minimal?
To my opinion, it's because we have been the first to do that kind of study. If you look, there is a similar study being done in the U.S. They only look at the average PM 2.5 on a daily basis for many stations. What we did is much more detailed than that. We installed fixed stations on both sides of the St. Lawrence River. We installed one station which was mobile to track the plume, to make sure we were located at the right place to measure the plume. We also had a station directly at L'Île Sainte-Hélène near the shooting site to be able to measure the metals. So I think people were guessing problems related to the air quality. And let's keep in mind, this is the first year where the fireworks had to cancel one of their shows. And this is mainly due to forest fires, air quality problems. I'm not saying, and obviously, when you look at the santé publique, the public health, obviously, because the forest fires were already exceeding applicable criteria for the populations, obviously, they need to recommend to cancel any additional source of fine particles, and that makes sense. And the regroupment of the fireworks decided anytime there is an air quality problem and the public health will ask to cancel a show, they will. So I think it was many different situations arriving at the same time, and obviously because of that, the follow-up was done for each of the show with the public health to make sure could they do the show or not. And obviously only the first one was canceled because only the first one was drastically affected by forest fires.
All right. Very interesting data here. Jean-Luc, thank you very much for your time today.
This is a pleasure. Have a good day.
You too. Jean-Luc Allard, engineer at Atkins Realis, formerly SNC Lavalin, and director of this very interesting study. We'll see if there are more, but fireworks not affecting air quality as much as people thought. So we'll see. We'll see what happens this summer. Hopefully the forest fires will allow, or the limit of the impact of the forest fires will allow these competitions to go ahead.